Welcome to another exciting episode of Cycle Sports Radio. I am your host, Patrick Harris, and I'm also the executive producer of Cycle Sports TV. You can find us at cyclesportstv.com. You can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/cyclesportstv. And of course, if you're a social media fan and you can follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Pinterest, on Instagram, all those social media outlets, we're there. Just look up Cycle Sports TV. Cycle Sports TV is the main site, so you want to look up for that. We have our YouTube site has 100 and some odd different videos on there, as well as these shows. So make sure to check them out. And of course, you're listening to us. If you're listening to us on iTunes, we want you to rate the show. Give us 5 stars, please. Please be nice. Give us 5 stars. Rate us. Give us a review. Tell us what you want to hear in the future, because we have lots of great, knowledgeable people that we have access to that are more than willing to come on and spread the love and spread the information out and to make your riding experience better. So right now, today, what I'm going to talk about is riding in the heat. Right now, I live in Vegas. I live in a hot part of the country. What do I see right now a lot of? Well, I see a lot of people riding around in shorts, tank tops, flip-flops. Believe it or not, don't know how they shift, but okay, flip-flops, the little teeny half helmets and the whole 9 yards. And to them, that is the best way to ride when it's hot. Because what do we think when it's hot? We need to just strip off clothing and that's going to make us cooler, right? Wrong. And we're going to explain how this is completely opposite of what you think is right, is what's going to actually keep you cool. Because not only do you have to stay cool, you got to stay safe. And if you watched our gear episode with Brittany Morrow, and I hope that you did, and I hope that you listened, you know that your gear saves your skin, literally. Now, when it's 100 degrees outside, or a little over 100 degrees outside here in Vegas, the asphalt temperature ranges right around 145 degrees. Okay, you wouldn't want to touch that for a second with your bare hand. Would you want to go sliding across that? Of course not. So certainly, we need you to wear gear, but you're saying it's too hot to wear gear. What we're going to teach you right now is how to wear your gear and be cooler. Wait, right? Is that right? Yes, it's right. Wearing your gear and being cooler. I know a lot of you are going, there's no way. I got to be in shorts. I got to be there. I'm going to burn up. The reality is that when you have your exposed skin to the heat and the elements, you're actually making yourself hotter. Okay, if any of you have ever, you know that we sweat to cool down. Well, why do we sweat to cool down? Our body has this natural mechanism. It knows that if it releases moisture over the surface of our skin, as that moisture evaporates, it creates what's called evaporative cooling. If you are moving and you have 100-degree air hitting you, that evaporative cooling is not working that well because it is just evaporating too quickly. And the body has to just keep sweating and sweating and sweating more. And what happens is you can literally lose a liter or more of water an hour. Let me say that again, a liter or more of water an hour. Okay, so you really can dehydrate yourself quickly. That can become dangerous. Another thing that people may not realize is the surface of your skin, the ambient temperature of the surface of your skin is about 93.5 degrees. Any air that hits that above that temperature is actually heating you up. So 93 degrees, that's actually kind of a spring or fall day here in Vegas. It typically gets well over 100 degrees, and I've ridden when it was 110. And you certainly, that 110-degree air is not going to cool you down at all. In fact, it's going to make you hotter. So now you're saying, well, then how is gear, how is equipment going to keep you cooler? Well, one, it's a protective barrier. You want to protect yourself from that hot air that's not only coming from the ambient temperature, but it's also coming off your motor. And some of you drive ride air-cooled bikes. You know that heat coming off the motor can be pretty extreme. It's also coming off the asphalt. Remember, your asphalt is going to retain heat. So your asphalt in the middle of the day can be 40-plus degrees hotter than the air temperature. So you have 140, 150, 180, 190-degree air that's coming at you from different directions. And if you're wearing shorts, it's blowing right up onto your legs and up your shorts, and yeah, that's not a good thing. So what you have to be able to do is create a protective barrier. But now, you're not going to wear winter clothes where it cuts off all the wind. So what we're going to teach you now is a little bit of the compromise. If you've ever noticed that motorcycle manufacturers for the summer sell the mesh gear. Well, why do they do that? Well, you want some sort of circulation. You do want some airflow, but not too much, because too much becomes problematic because you're just going to evaporate any moisture that you have. They also sell, if you've been down to your local cycle gear or your local, if you've been online, they also sell what are called cool vests. And there's the sporting goods stores will also sell cool danas, which is basically a bandana. And what are those? Are basically just, they're just articles of clothing that fit under, that you wear underneath your regular clothing. And the cool dana situation, it just wraps around your neck. But they're designed to retain moisture, because they are going to now be your evaporative cooling effect. That means that they're going to have all this great moisture in there that's going to evaporate in a controlled manner and keep you cool. Now, if you don't believe me, here, I'll give you an example. How many times on a hot summer day did you jump out of a pool and you were freezing? Think about that. That's evaporative cooling. That's what these garments do for you. So you need a surface that's going to cut off the majority of the wind but allow some flow. And then you need to be able to trap moisture in order to have the proper amount of evaporative cooling. And if you don't believe me on that, I suggest you find somebody that has a cool vest, soak it in some even just room temperature water, go out when it's 110 degrees, throw that vest on, and the moment you have it, just putting it on by itself is going to cool you off, but once you feel some wind hitting you, you'll actually start to cool down. Actually, with a cool vest, anything under about 95 degrees, it'll actually make me a little cold. I actually get a little chilly, believe it or not. So first you start off with a good base layer. Let's get started first with a base layer. I actually wear a long sleeve compression fit shirt underneath my gear. Why do I do that? Well, one, I want to keep the moisture in. I want to keep the moisture next to my skin because that's where the cooling is going to happen. Okay, you don't want something loose fitting that allows your skin to dry up. Two, you're going to want to have some sort of cooling gear. Okay, and if this isn't possible, wet a t-shirt. Wet a t-shirt, put it on. It's real easy to do, and then when it dries up, go wet it again. Okay, if you're going to work or your job or going to somebody's house, just bring an extra shirt with you that's dry. Switch it out when you get there. Cool vests, $35. Cool danas, which are the bandanas that go around your neck, they're maybe $5 or $10. That's it. And they will generally keep you cool for anywhere from an hour to 4 hours, depending upon how much air you hit them. The more air that hits them, they will keep you cooler, but it'll actually dry out faster. So there is a compromise there. So find yourself a nice mesh jacket that's still going to protect you. It's going to have your back protection, your CE armor. Now, if you want more information on that, we have an entire show on gear that we did with Brittany Morrow. Again, I mentioned this again because I really want all of you guys to take a look at that show. I think that really shows you how to protect yourself. What we're talking about here specifically in the heat. So you get yourself a good base layer, get yourself some sort of cooling device, which is going to be some sort of cool vest. And they also have, now they're actually coming out with the same type, they're made out of the same type of material as a cool vest, but they'll actually wrap around your entire neck. Because there are critical points that you really, really, really want to keep cool. Any place that is a critical or has a critical organ there, meaning your brain. So your helmet's going to help do that. And how does your helmet do it? Because it has so many layers of insulation, it's going to keep the hot air from getting through. And you can actually use just one of the headpieces and put a little bit of water on it. You know, again, it should be compression fit because you don't want it to cause the helmet to fit in properly. But keep that wet and have just a little bit of moisture in there, and that should be good. Try keeping something around your neck is critical as well too, because you have these big old giant veins that go from your body, from your torso, up to your brain. Now, your brain is the most critical organ in your body. That's, you know, some might say you need you need some of the other ones too, but that one is what makes everything function. You don't want heated blood going from your neck up into your brain. So if you're riding along and your torso is cool, but that blood is pumping through your neck and you have 110-degree air hitting your neck, that can cause issues as well. So make sure to protect your vital organs. And if you're keeping your body cool, it's going to help keep the cool blood pumping through your body as well. That's why it's so important that I think if you're going to have one device, starting with the cool vest is probably the most important, and certainly having the other devices such as some sort of wrap around your neck and something to keep your head a little bit wet. Now, what are the downsides of riding in the heat? You're saying, it's no big deal. Well, first, like I mentioned earlier, you can lose up to a liter of water an hour, which means dehydration happens fast. By the time you realize you're dehydrated, it's too late. You already could be in a condition where you're impaired, worse than you would be if you were drunk, and it can cause not only all kinds of health issues, but it can cause you to crash. We don't want you to crash. And it can take a long time to recover once you get to that point. You can find someplace cool and start drinking water, but it could take several hours to get yourself hydrated again and to cool your core temperature down. Because when your core temperature comes up, which is one of the things we're trying to prevent, it has the same effects as when you have a flu. If you've ever had 102-degree temperature, that's only a few degrees over what your normal temperature is, by the way. Once your body gets over 100 degrees, you don't feel very good. Well, the same thing happens when your body heats up because of all the hot air hitting you. Okay? That's why it's so critical to have that moisture there. So make sure, good base layer, good cool vest, something else to wrap you around. And if you notice, if you start getting the first signs of dehydration or heat stroke, find some place to pull over and get some water in you and cool off. Because if you keep pushing it, some bad things can happen. So if you're going to have issues with headaches, you'll start having headaches, blurred vision. If any of you have ever had heat stroke before, you know what the signs are, and you know they're not pretty, and it doesn't feel good. So make sure the first thing, if you notice that you're starting to have a heat stroke, get someplace cool, get some fluids in you. Okay. Now we're going to be doing later episodes of Cycle Sports TV. We're actually going to be showing some of this gear, how it works, and actually showing some of the science behind it and the actual temperature changes. While on the iTunes, on the radio version of this, the audio version of this, we can't really do that. We can explain it to you as we did here, but trust me, if you've ever ridden with this, you'll never go back, because you can go out in 100 when it's 102, 105. And feel nice and cool, and you're still protected, because that's important, because we want all of you out there riding until you decide you don't want to ride anymore, not because you physically can't do it or because you're not with us anymore. So certainly do your research. Don't just listen to me. Do your research. Go find some good gear, some great gear, not good gear, but great gear, and protect yourself. Keep yourself cool in the summer. We're going to be doing a similar show to this fairly soon on keeping yourself warm in the winter, because it has some of the same effects, and some of those bad effects are crashing and injuring yourself, and we try to avoid that. So if you have any comments, if you have any questions about this, please contact us at Cycle Sports TV. Go to our website, go to our YouTube site, leave us a comment, and ask any questions that you'd like, and we'll certainly get back to you as soon as we can, because we want to keep you safe. We want to make it fun for you out there, and we want you to be able to ride even when the temperature gets over 100 degrees. I do, and I still have a great time. Once again, I'm Patrick Harris. You can find us on YouTube at Cycle Sports TV, Pinterest, Facebook, Twitter, all of them, Cycle Sports TV, and of course, you can find us on iTunes. Look us up under Cycle Sports Radio. We hope this is good information for you. Hope this helps, and it hopes it makes your next ride out in the heat all that more comfortable. We'll talk to you later. Bye.